Hi, I'm Jon Matlack. Welcome to today's Mililani Minute. Today I'm going to be talking to you from the book of Proverbs. And before we get started, I just want to encourage you to read the book of Proverbs. It's filled with lots of wisdom and advice that we can apply to our days today, our everyday life. There's 31 chapters. You can read a chapter a day, and it works out with the month. If you were going to start in the middle of the month, that's okay. If it's the third, just pick it up and start with Proverbs chapter 3. And the reason I picked the third is because I'm going to speak to you today from Proverbs chapter 3. So we're going to look at Proverbs chapter 3, starting in verse 5, and we're going to talk about a couple of the Proverbs that are there. Starting in verse 5, it says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths." Now, that might sound a little bit vague. Lots of times Proverbs sound a little bit like that. But what does it mean? How can we apply that? Well, what else have we been encouraged to do with all of our heart that this has a little bit of a sound to? In Deuteronomy chapter 6, he says, in Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 5, it says, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your strength." Love the Lord your God. Trust in the Lord your God with all your heart. Lean on him with all your heart, soul, strength, mind. There's kind of a connection there. And what is the promise if we trust in the Lord with all our heart? That he will direct our paths. Or a more literal translation may read, he will make your paths straight. The idea is that he will make it clear what we're going to do, and he'll clear the way for us to go the direction we're supposed to go. In a time when a lot of people are wondering, what's next? What am I supposed to do? I mean, how many Americans go to college trying to find out what they want to do in life? But if they simply lean on God, they trust in him with all their heart, he will direct their paths. He will give them a direction for life. A direction that will lead them where he wants them to go, which is ultimately where we would want to be, is right in the middle of God's will. Verse 7, he goes on and he says, "Be not wise in your own eyes, but fear the Lord and depart from evil, and it will be health to your flesh and strength to your bones." Fear the Lord and depart from evil. This concept of fearing the Lord and departing from evil gives us an idea, a question of why is fearing the Lord and evil opposites? Well, simply because when there is something to fear from the Lord, it's when we are doing evil. There's nothing to fear when we are following him. And the idea here is not that we should cower in fear from the Lord, but that we should go to him in respect, in fear, but go to him and have a relationship with him. The idea there, if we follow him, he will bless us and give us health. Following. Think of that. If you look in Galatians chapter 5, verse 16, it says to walk in the Spirit. I think this is the same concept. Walk with the Lord. Walk with him. And he will give you these blessings. In this case, it is the health. Now, I will warn you something. When you read Proverbs, you may read this and say, "But John, it says, do not be wise in your own eyes, but fear the Lord and depart from evil." I've tried to do that, and yet I'm still sick. Well, these aren't promises of if you do this, then this will happen. But these are promises of of general rules, of how things generally will work. In general, if we do these things, if we fear God and depart from evil, then we will have this health that he promises us. When we don't have it, maybe there's something he's trying to teach us, or maybe there's something that we need to be adjusting. Or maybe it's simply to bring him glory in another way. But we can always lean on him, and he will direct our paths where we need to be. Thank you, and have a good day.